everyone, welcome back to the ranch. Today I want to share with you the RBX561. When I was looking for a new baler, there was no review video on this baler. I couldn't really find very much information on it. I believe it's the same as the New Holland 688 made by the same company, AGCO, I think. Anyway, and even now, 6 years later, I've had this baler, still no videos on it. So I thought I'd share with you what I found out about the baler and if it's good or if it's not. So let's have a look. So here's the pickup on it. The pickup is the same width, just like a lot of older balers. This is 2006 model, and it could be wider, but it does do a good job. It does pick up everything. As you can see, I've got it actually set a little bit too low right here, but it is a good pickup. It picks up the small hay and everything. This is the twine box, and it holds a lot of twine. I've got 28,000 in here, but it'll hold the bigger 40,000 rolls as well. And I've got the twine settings on, just over half, I guess. I can't remember how many settings are on there. I think it's got 6, and I've got it at number 5, and it's got plenty of string. That setting. So this one just has the simple monitor. Just turn it on, and then it tells you whether you need to be to the left or to the right of the swath. Now, like I said, with this pickup, it could be wider, but if you take your time and adjust your rake, I use a V rake, 10-wheel bat rake, and it took me a whole field to get it set right so that my bales are nice and square. And then number of wraps, it changes each time, so I have it 4 settings, and I've got it on number 3. There's 1, I've tried number 2, that wasn't enough on this hay. Number 3 is just right. If you were doing straw, maybe you'd want it on number 4, or if your hay was really short, you'd probably want to turn it to number 4. So a very simple monitor, works well, and you can stop your wrap on the auto, and then you can make it retract, you can extend it, and then if you stop it, push it the next time, and it'll go and auto wrap again. Sometimes at the end of the field, I only got 100 feet to go or so, and it wants to wrap, I'll just push stop, finish the swath, and then push wrap again, and it'll not much on the right hand side of this baler. Just the drive for the drum here on that chain, and then the counter. You see I did 20 bales yesterday. And then the size of the baler, setting at I've got it set about 5'6" right there. It will make a true 6-foot bale, but I make mine just a touch bit smaller. Here is the left side of the baler. A lot more going on here. The drive up here is driving these 2 chains, which then drive the pickup down here, this chain, the roller on the inside, and the pickup chain down there. That roller in there, which is on this slip clutch here, which does slip if the hay is too dry. All that hay balls up back there in the belts. I'll show you a little video on that. But as long as the hay's above 12%, I've had no issues with this baler at all. When I had the belts off, I checked all the bearings, and they're all in really, really good shape. I've never had a hot bearing. And then that's the kick out for when you open the door. It stops the belts from turning in the pickup as the door is open. This is what the baler will do if it's too dry. It takes in too much of this hay on the back side of the roller. And then the slip clutch slips. So it needs to be a little, hay needs to be right. The back of the baler does have a kicker bar. It doesn't kick it very far, but it does kick it far enough. If you're on level ground or even just a slight incline, it will kick it away. I typically back up first so that when I start going forward, I can just keep going forward and then I don't have the door hit the bale at all. This baler originally had the chevron belts on it, and I had a couple belts break on the outside. I did them to get through. And I wish I would have done them all at the same time, because these two outside ones that I did 2 years ago are a little bit looser than all the inside ones that I've done now, just because I haven't had time to stretch out. So they are catching up though. Also, the chevron belts, I think they're maybe a little bit better as far as taking in hay. These original styles will actually have the belt, or have the hay, if it's real short or real too dry, it'll chaff it up and kind of mix it here in these starter rollers. I want to share with you, up here at the top, these pins right here where the door hinges, one on this side and one on that side, they have a tendency to seize because there is no grease nipple there. And when they seize, it will break out the pin down here, and that's what the hydraulic arm is hooked to, and it'll have a tendency to break that pin away. So I didn't know that. I had a ag tech tell me that, and sure enough, my pins were, and I've had to fix these ones down here up on both sides, on the inside and out, and then I've had to try and oil and grease those pins as best possible. So be aware of that. So what I've been doing is, before I head to the field, is I've been oiling and penetrating fluid these pins on both sides as best as I can. Now I'm done haying for the year, so I'll do that again. But anybody that has these balers outside, that'll cause the most issue, is oil that pin as much as you can. I have mine stored inside now, and it's helping. Best thing I could do would be to drill down in here and put a grease nipple in. Maybe I will do that one day. So there's the pin on the outside that I was just telling you about. You can see I've fixed it up, I've greased it, and that pin up there on the top, that'll seize. So just be aware of that. And if you're going to look at one, see if that pin is breaking away on the outside and on the inside, on both sides. And then you'll know if that pin up there is starting to seize. This is the gauge, and where I have the setting at, the bales are approximately 1700 psi with the setting almost cranked up to its max. So with the setting of the tension set almost cranked up to max, the baler makes pretty good bale, and I'll show you where you adjust that. It's right here through this back hole on the right. You loosen the lock nut off here, and then you back this off or tighten it up. I've got it fairly tight. I think it's a round or a round and a half off of max, and it makes a good tight bail. Hydraulic lines, drive shaft, pretty simple. The slip clutch underneath here, and then there's a connector to go to the tractor. I don't go very far, so I don't use it. 2 lines for the door and 1 line for the pickup. And you set the pickup one on float. CV shaft on each end. And then the hitch, and then the setting. This hitch needs to be set at 16 inches from the end of the PTO to the pin. 1000 PTO. So all in all, this baler is very good. It's been very good for me. We only do 60-70 acres a year, as many as 200 bales a year, and it's really hasn't skipped a beat. Like I said, I fixed up the pins, got the upper hinge pins greased, had to adjust the knives, of course, a little bit. One thing about that is don't ever extend your tie arms with the pickup up hydraulically. It'll run into the guards and it'll stop it. So hasn't hurt it. I've made that mistake a couple times. Hasn't hurt it, but it'll stop it from tying. The other thing is when you do tie, it helps if you keep rolling into the swath as those arms come down. It'll tie every time. I've had the odd time where I've stopped right away as soon as the alarm went off, and one side or the other, it wouldn't grab the string enough to take it in and start tying. But pretty rare. Maybe 1 bale a year. Sometimes not even that. As far as horsepower goes, I'm running a 115 horsepower Case IH Farmall, and it handles it no problem. It's 100 PTO horsepower. Previous to this tractor, I had a 95 horsepower Farmall with 80 PTO horsepower, and even that tractor ran this baler just fine. There was 1 year I put up some very tough hay, 22% moisture, just because there was a bunch of rain coming and I didn't want to leave it there any longer. And the baler handled it just fine. And that was with a 95 horsepower tractor, and it handled it fine too. Now, the higher the horsepower, the better bales it makes. Since I've got this little bigger tractor, my bales are nicer. They're more solid. The core starts a little better. It makes nice bales. So almost done. I had to sprinkle the rain for about 20 minutes. And it actually helped a little bit. Got the moisture content back up. Here's the last couple bales I've made. I'm almost done. Probably finish here in an hour. Just got out to check the bales. And joining me with the baler review. I hope you liked the video and found it informative.